We're live.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
Let me pull up the live chat.
Yep. So let me make sure everything is.
Because it's not coming. Okay,
Yep.
here it goes.
This is so. I just want to say it's so nice to see you guys already here. Like y'all.
I know we're getting fancy on this channel.
I know. Look at us.
Okay, y'all ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, everyone. Welcome back to Black Prose Club, where Black lives, Black books, and Black authors have always mattered. I am your host today. This has been my quarter. I am Troy Nicole from Ink Fleur Studio, as well as Bookish Waffler.
Yeah.
I'll go next. I'm Brittany, aka Melanin Eclectic, on everything, and I don't have any other channels yet, but I am thinking about it.
And I'm Oshale from Oshi Reads, and I'm Oshi Reads on Instagram, and I believe on Twitter, I'm just Oshale. So, yes.
Okay, so let's get into Throwback-a-thon. How did you guys do on your reading prompts? First thing first.
See, what had happened was.
That's always a great way to start.
I have a legit excuse. Let me show you guys what happened. I was shooketh. Like, I was like, this can't be right. I go to my little iCloud library. I go to my books, and I'm sitting here, and it says, there's a problem with your card. Please contact your library. Library's not open today. In fact, it hasn't been open since Friday. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? All my books were there. So
no.
For 2 days. And it's on every book thing that requires your library card, it's that. So I don't know what's going on. I even went online, nothing. I was like, okay. So I read 3.5 books. I was halfway through the other book when my library card decided it didn't want to work anymore.
Well, you did way better than me because I read 2.5 books. Because it's better for me because in readathons I always barely do one, but I did 2.5. The half one was a reread, so I was just like, okay, that's not that big of a deal because it was just like I already know what happens in it, so it's not too bad. But yeah, 2.5. That's it. No excuses. I just am lazy.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Oshale, how many did you read?
Here's the thing. I did really, really well with the Instagram prompts. I was killing it.
Yes.
I was repping for all of us, okay? I was taking photos. I was being creative. I did what I had to do with the Instagram prompts. I was having a lot of fun with those. When it comes to the actual reading, I think I'm going to have to figure out everything with my new job because whenever you get a new job, there's a certain level of mental and emotional energy that it takes because it's a new environment, new people. You're getting used to new systems and new job descriptions and everything like that. So I kind of underestimated how much it was going to take out of me and how tired I would be every day. And then I also want to have time for my writing. And like right now I'm like hit a really good writing streak and I just kind of want to focus on it. So when it came to the prompts, when I think about all the pages that I read, but across all the books, I probably maybe read 1 or 2 books. I was listening to the audiobook for Clap When You Land, and I got, I would say 15% of the way through because I listened to it to and from work. And then I also read about 2 or 3 chapters from, oh God, what was the other book I was reading? The war book, A Cry for War. And then what other book did I start? There's some books that I didn't even get to open. And then there are other books that for some reason I read really quickly that weren't even a part of my TBR. But because I'm a mood reader, I just like randomly picked up certain books on my Kindle and I would like read through those. So on my Kindle, I finished 2 books. From my actual TBR, I finished no books.
How many prompts Like, even though you only read 2.5, and I read only 3.5, how many prompts did you get to? Because sometimes you can combine prompts.
That's true. The only prompt that I successfully think I tackled was the secret identity one, and maybe the friends one, the friends group one. Those two were the ones that I successfully was like, because I'm like 95% of the way through Slay because I just kept reading and reading, couldn't put it down.
I think I did 3 because I made myself not combine any prompts in any books. So I definitely did Recess. I did. What were the other ones that I did? It's not like I don't remember the prompts. I don't remember the books that went along with it.
Oh, you don't remember the book you paired with?
Yes. I just know there were 3 prompts. I just know it was 3 of them. I don't remember which ones. I know it was it was Recess. It was shit. Pass. Next.
No.
So, Night of the Dragon was the first one, which, by the way, I'm still emotionally distraught about Night of the Dragon.
You were so emotionally distraught.
Right.
You were really, like, texting the group chat like, I am emotionally destroyed. And we're like, what's happening?
I was so confused the whole time.
Because the whole series has kind of like, you know, when you have a good fantasy series and you start connecting to the characters. So every time it's a new book, you have those characters back in the book. So by the end of this one, this is the 3rd book, the end of the series, everything is coming to a head. And I'm listening and I'm just at work, and I'm like, what? Like, it was multiple times where I audibly said things and I was like, oh crap, I'm at work. Sorry. And then like, what's going on? I was like, this is a really good book. And I'm trying not to cry right now because everybody's dying.
Wow.
It was rough.
I'm the kind of person that if I read a series and then in the last book, all of a sudden the author starts killing off all these people, I'm enraged. I'm like, I have stayed with you this whole series. You couldn't have killed some of these people in the 2nd book so that I could have, like, you know, acclimated myself to the murders that were to come. Like, you can't just wait until the last book of the series and then just start killing off all these people. That is emotional abuse.
I sent her a tweet letting her know that I was emotionally destroyed, and she said that my tears were her motivation.
I love that.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna read more of your work.
Just for that,
like my kind of author.
Honestly, she got me, and then her response was kind of gold, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read more. Read more. I like this emotional abuse.
Okay,
you did better this year's throwbackathon than last year, like comparatively. Reading one.
We were burned out last year.
I don't know if I read one book last year.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I don't think I did very well last year, but last year was very like rushed. Like we planned it out in detail, and then so many things kept happening. Like we went to like Brittany and I went to Book Net Fest, and like Troy was doing a lot, and then all of a sudden we came back and jumped straight into Throwbackathon, and we were like, ah. And so we didn't really have time to put as much, I guess, effort into it. I feel like this year we were super organized. We had like our IG prompts ready to go. We had planned everything months in advance. Like, y'all, we have been talking about Throwbackathon since like January. We were like on it this year. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to ask y'all. Do you think that we should bring it back again next year? Just out of curiosity.
I am all for it.
That depends on everyone else. I mean, this is the first year. Oh, thank you. No lie, making those graphics were fun.
They were so good.
It was like, oh, because honestly, we cannot stress enough, without our illustrator bringing our brand to life, those would not have happened either, because it's like so much easier now. We don't have to think about colors. We don't have, like, literally you see the colors, you see our picture, you know it's our brand every single time. So it's just like, Like, I sometimes feel like I need to like send her more money. Like, thank you.
I know.
Yes, shout out to illustrative pages on
Yes.
Instagram. Like, it was so good.
We will never not say like thank you so much. But here's the thing. I even saw this on Twitter because I was trying to remember to use our Twitter, and somebody was like, I don't really feel like reading. And I was like, you can go take some pretty book photos for Instagram.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go do that. I was like, this readathon is not necessarily about actually reading. It's more like we need happy moments to remember things. So if you read a prompt, if you read the reading prompt, or if you got on Instagram and saw the Instagram prompt and it made you smile, that was kind of the objective. Like, it's a throwback. You're supposed to have moments where you think about it and you smile. And even if you don't read one book, like I love it. In my mind, I have 3 options for potential themes for next year already.
I know that to me is the most fun part of Throwbackathon is the nostalgia aspect, because so many of us think back on our childhoods and we think to those iconic, like whether they be cartoons or songs or music videos or books that we read that brought us so much joy. Like whether you had a good childhood, a bad childhood, no matter what was going on in your life as a child, there are those bright spots. Like as readers, we have those bright spots of happiness because of the books that we read as children. And so that's honestly the whole point of Throwbackathon, is to like take you back to that happy moment and bring it into like today and just bask in it no matter what's going on, because 2020 has been a trash can of a year. Like we have amazing things happening. We have this great movement happening with Black Lives Matter, even though, you know, Black Lives Matter has been happening for a long time now, but we won't talk about that in this live. We're trying to stay positive. We're trying to be happy in this live. Yeah. But there's finally a revolution happening. People are finally waking up. So that's like the greatness of all the darkness that's been happening. But when we all think about this year, I feel like in December, we're all just going to be happy that we made it.
Yeah.
We made it to the end of the year. Like that's the kind of year it's been.
I survived 2020.
We're going to be telling our kids about this year, and Brittany's going to be telling my kids she ain't having no kids.
This is a year that will be in the history books. It will be, because there's so much. It's just like, and this is the year that TikTok and K-pop stands ruin a presidential thing by
rally, convention, whatever you want to call it.
These things are history-worthy things. It's the year was crap, but we have Throwbackathon, and we're literally trolling the president.
Which leads me to one question I wanted to ask you guys, and everyone in the chat can answer this too. What, as a child, it doesn't have to be Saturday morning specifically, but what was your favorite cartoon to watch, period? Like just the one you could think of that was like, you could go back now and know like, okay, yeah, this was it for me. Like I could rewatch this all the time.
This is way too hard.
This is extremely difficult.
You can pick a couple of them if you need to.
Yeah, it's like 3 different ones that I'm torn. Hey, and Jerry.
Say all 3.
Yeah.
All 3. I feel like it's a 3-way tie. Okay. This is hard because when it comes, I have one for every category.
Every category. Of course.
Okay. We're listening.
Okay, when it comes to like superheroes, as much as I love like the classic superheroes, you know, like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, my favorite was X-Men, hands down. There's nothing like whenever I hear that X-Men theme song, like I literally get tears in my eyes. Like I get so hyped. I'm like,
you got it. I found an X-Men shirt where the da-na-na-na-na-na is the back of the shirt.
Really?
Yes. Remind me this because my friend was wearing it and he walked by and I was like, stand still. And I was like, da-na-na-na-na-na. I was like, oh my God.
Like so iconic, right? And so for superheroes, it was definitely X-Men, even though I liked all the other superheroes. That one was like, and then for like more of like the sillier, you know, that type of humor where it's like people are like hitting each other and it's funny, like the silly ones. Yeah. I really liked, what is the one? I don't know. I'm torn between Animaniacs and Tiny Toon Adventures. But I have to go with Tiny Toons because wasn't Tiny Toons the one that had those segments
Yes.
in it? Like,
yeah.
I remember them specifically, like Little Lady Katie went kaboom. Like, I remember that one was funny as hell. Like, they had so many like funny ass segments that actually now that I watch as an adult, I'm like, wow, there's a lot deeper stuff going on here. Like the little white girl that just lost her shit. Have you ever thought about that?
Tiny Toons Adventures and Animaniacs, both of them, I've watched them as an adult, and I was like, no wonder my dad was comfortable sitting down laughing next to me. I thought we were laughing at the same things, but we weren't.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, this little white girl that had a temper tantrum because she couldn't get her way and literally lost her shit. And now we have Karen, the Karen memes. Like, the connection is just crazy. And then for like more of like the coming of age ones, I'm also torn between like 3. Doug, Daria, and Hey Arnold.
Specifically,
Hey
Nickelodeon. Let's
Nickelodeon, period.
Doug. We don't recognize Disney Doug. Disney Doug needed his behind whooped multiple times.
Multiple. I don't even recognize Disney Doug as part of the canon. Like, Disney Doug, I don't know where that came from. We rebuked that Doug. Like, get behind me, Satan. That is not.
How did that even get transferred over? I don't even understand.
I don't either.
Well, okay, so I looked it up because our prompt made me think about it. Apparently, the writer, like the creator of Doug, like wanted to take Doug in a certain direction, and Nickelodeon did not. Like, Nickelodeon wanted to keep him at the age that he was. Because, you know, a lot of times Nickelodeon doesn't age up their characters a lot.
Yeah.
So when he moved over to Disney, you know, he ends up going to a middle school and he's older, and it's like,
whatever.
I pass.
And then for the mythical cartoons, I'm done after this, I promise. Gargoyles forever will be the GOAT. I'm done.
I feel that.
Okay. You did categories. This is fun.
I'm sorry.
So obviously, I don't know how weird this sounds. So I grew up in Japan, and when we were in elementary school, Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z came on during the day. So my mom would record it, and we would come home and watch it. And then we would also watch, well, what is the American name for it? Hello Kitty had a show back in the day.
Yes.
Oh, something with an S, right?
Yes.
So Sanrio?
Yes, Sanrio. So I watched that as well. Obviously, my ultimate coming of age story is still Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold had so many complex things we didn't even realize that, like, I mean, it's literally a whole show where they made a movie about gentrification.
Yes.
Like, we cannot.
So deep.
However, I do have to shout out Pepper Ann, because I felt like Pepper Ann and I was like, you could scream that song and brace face at any point in time, and somebody else would join in with you, or you would just rock out like to yourself. Let's see. Obviously, X-Men is the ultimate superhero cartoon back in the day. All the other ones were good because DC does a very good job doing comics. But I also have to shout out Digimon. Because Digimon was our crap. And again, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is not a cartoon, but Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came on during the same time. Yeah. And now that I'm older, I apologize to my parents for making them watch that because it's trash. But when I was younger, y'all couldn't tell me I was not Aisha with my box braids.
Yes.
Coming out here and trying to be cool. Oh, the comments are going crazy.
Also, can we talk about, okay, so when I think back, I realized that my love for romance stemmed from like certain shows as a child. And I honestly fully believe in my soul that my love for romance was like the foundation of that. 50% of it is definitely Sailor Moon. Because I used to watch the hell out of that cartoon. Tuxedo Max was bae. But can we talk about how problematic that was?
Wait, to be clear, in the manga, Mamoru is not an adult. That wasn't until it was transferred over to America that Mamoru was 22 and Usagi was 14. For some reason, I still don't understand why they did that, but I just didn't make that clear. Like, that is not how the mangas were. he was definitely 16. And yeah, plus I don't understand why they aged him and not her.
And not her. Like now looking back, when I was a child, obviously I didn't know the difference. And I was just like, oh, Tuxedo Mask, like this is so romantic. But now, now I'm like, ooh.
I'm not even sure I knew what ages they were back then.
I mean, yeah, I knew because, yeah.
Well, everyone's older than you when you're a child. Like thinking about being 16, like I literally remember reading the Babysitter's Club books, and they're like, the girls are like, what, 13, 14? When they start the club, and I'm like, wow, they're so old and mature. When I'm 13, I'm going to start a Babysitter's Club. Because you're like a child. You think like 13 is like this huge number. Like it seems so big to you.
That's fact. I mean, that one, so it was Babysitter's Club. Oh, that was the one question I was going to ask you. So you have $20. Your mom gave you $20. You're going to the Scholastic Book Fair. What non-book items did you buy at the book fair?
You know, it's so funny. I only received money to buy non-book items at the book fair anyway. I'm not joking. Like my dad would give us like a few dollars to like buy a pencil and one of those like really cute neon erasers.
Oh my God, yes.
And that would be it. He'd be like, I am not paying that much money for these books you can go get at the library. He just was not here for it. And so I would literally just go get the erasers or the pencils. I would literally, you know, they would have it at their like at the library's desk. And I would just go up there and be like, I want this pencil. I want this pencil. I want this eraser. And then I would put it down and that's what I would get. I have never bought anything from the Scholastic Book Fair that was a book.
Listen, I conned my sisters into giving me some of their book fair money so I could buy that fuzzy diary.
Yes.
Do y'all remember those diaries back then that were like password activated, where you would be like, it would like do that shit never worked.
Say your password and get in there. Like
anyone, my brother would literally say Clifford, and it would go. I'd be like, what was the point of this?
Those diaries were life. Oh my gosh! And I also loved the holographic pencils.
Yes,
with the shiny holographic pencils. Bookmarks. I've always loved bookmarks. And my mom would never understand it. She was like, this is literally a piece of like colored cardboard. Like, I don't understand. Like my mom would be like, I will give you cardboard like you can color at home. Like I'm not paying for this. I'm like, no.
Oh my God. You're so right. You guys remember Listen. All of those things. My mom, the only book series I ever got from the Scholastic Book Fair was I made a deal with my parents that I would keep straight A's, and I got to have a subscription to get a book mailed to me once a month. That was the Babysitter's Club book.
Yes.
And you couldn't tell me that I was not the coolest person ever because my siblings didn't get mail. I got mail.
Yes.
Same. My dad subscribed to the like monthly Clifford the Big Red Dog, who I'm sporting apparently.
Oh my God.
Every month. And I would be so pressed because our mailbox fell into our house. So I would just like sit in front of the mailbox and right when it dropped, I'd be like, yes. And I would like reread that book over and over and over again.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The Babysitter's Club monthly subscription was everything. I specifically remember like those days that I would get my book of the month and I'm just like, and I'm just sitting in my living room like, oh my God. At first I'm staring at the cover for mad long because it's so beautiful. I'm like, oh my God, look at this cover. And everyone had like their favorite babysitter. Like a couple of them were mine. Like obviously we have to stand for Jessie.
Obviously.
And then I also really liked Claudia and Stacy because they were like the cool ones. And
I liked Claudia.
Claudia was like, I wanted to be like, I thought that as I got older that I could somehow become a Claudia and like people would like me.
We all wanted because she was just like effortlessly cool. She was bad at school, but she was like effortlessly just. I always thought Christy was a brat.
Definitely. Yeah.
I felt like Dawn. I liked Dawn, but she wasn't that interesting to me.
Yeah, she was kind of dull.
And I low-key actually really liked Marianne. Like low-key, like really. Abby was dope. When they finally added Abby, do y'all remember Abby?
Yeah.
She like came to New York and like she had
Yes.
that curly hair. I liked her.
Yep.
Yeah. So there are some other subscriptions that the comments are saying. Highlights.
Okay.
That magazine was Life. We did try to.
Highlights. Yes, I remember that.
Having siblings in a highlights magazine was a terrible idea. If you weren't the first person to get the magazine, it was kind of ruined at that point. Apparently, there's a Mark Brown club because of Arthur. I didn't know he had a club.
Arthur?
Yeah, for the book.
I was going to mention Arthur because we never brought him up, and I definitely watched a lot of Arthur as a child too. Like, that was one of my favorites.
Still watch Arthur?
That.
It's like, yeah. Oh my gosh. Claudia was my fave, and I wanted Claudia to fight Christy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I never understood like how Christy was Christy. But now that I'm older, I'm like, she was this privileged 13-year-old girl who never really had any problems or struggles. I think her biggest problem that her mom got married and she had like a stepdad now.
Yeah.
That was literally like her biggest problem in life.
Didn't she have like a brother, like a new brother or something like that?
Something. All I know is that didn't her mom marry Dawn's somebody? There were so many books. How do y'all remember all this? I want to say it was Christy's mom married Dawn's dad or somebody's dad. Somebody clue me in. I can't remember. And they became stepsisters, and like she did not have a very good relationship with her father. He was like that father that promised that he was going to come pick her up and then never showed up. Mm-hmm. Those were like her woes.
I'm sorry, I read the comments.
What?
I had a crush on He-Man.
He-Man, really?
He-Man?
No. Full judgment.
No judgments. No judgments.
On that, full judgment.
My superhero crushes were definitely Gambit. Definitely 1000% Gambit. In my mind, Gambit was fine. Like
mine was so basic
that if Kovu from the guy, he'd be fine. It's all these things in my head about weird characters that would be freaking.
Mine was on Nickelodeon, and it's not like DC, it's not Marvel, but I think my first childhood crush was like Danny Phantom.
Oh,
like, I swear to God.
Mine were basic. Mine were like Wolverine. And then also, strangely, I went through a phase where I was obsessed with Superman. And I think it's because of that really fine actor that I cannot remember his name. It starts with Tom, that played Superman in the CW or like whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So then I became obsessed with Superman. And now looking back, I'm like, Superman was like the blandest, most boring cookie.
Like, he still kind of is.
I'm like, he's so bland and unseasoned. I don't understand why I was obsessed with him. And then I remember I was like, it had to be because of that show on the CW, because that one dude was so fine. I was like, why is he so attractive?
I can't agree with that one. I'm sorry. I've never had a crush on Superman.
I told you it was really bland.
I mean, so like,
Smallville. Thank you, Cerebral. Yeah.
Yes. Have you guys watched, let's see the comments, have you guys watched Mysterious Cities of Gold? Mm-hmm. I don't remember that one. I do remember Cyber Chase. I remember
Cyber Chase.
Also, everybody in the comments are talking about their crushes. Trunks.
I love that.
Robin from Teen Titans.
Yes.
Actually, not Teen Titans Go, but the other Teen Titans. That show was dope. Like 1000% dope. And
weirdly, I didn't have a crush on him, but I loved Beast Boy.
I loved Beast Boy because if Beast Boy was like an actual person, he'd be that one guy in the group who was actually really, really cute and really cute, but he was overshadowed by like the popular guys like.
And also, I shipped him with Raven, so that's why.
Also, had a Launchpad. You know what? Shade free. I'm not even gonna judge you. Launchpad, it was an awesome character, but I am going to laugh because I love all of these crush confessions. You want to know the weirdest crush I ever had?
Simba.
Kovu.
I was close.
You're why could a lion do a one eyebrow thing though? Like, come on.
Wait, I have to have a confession. Mine was Simba, but as an adult, I found out it was Matthew Broderick who voiced him. I was like, oh, well, there you go. I'm in love with Ferris Bueller already.
Yes.
So everything makes sense.
That's funny.
It's like, but
oh, Brittany better not say nothing else about Monster Smut after that comment.
Okay. Oh,
there's like him. It was Kovu, and then the guy, Treasure Planet, the Disney movie Treasure Planet, the main character, he was also fine.
He was fine.
Yeah, but like y'all can't tell me that Kovu wasn't giving looks. Like he was giving Kiara the eye multiple.
I don't know if Oshale knows what this means, but I know Brittany will. We're entering furry territory.
What? Oh, ew. Furry.
No.
Why did you do that, y'all?
Why are we like this? Why are we?
I don't know. I blame the whole chat. They're doing a lot.
I think I had a crush on mostly human people.
Oh, that was shade right there.
Tarzan was one of my biggest crushes coming up. Tarzan, I don't know what it was, just swinging through the vine.
You know what it was? He was in a loincloth and he had a body.
But my mom, every time we would watch Tarzan, because my little brother, I was kind of like my little brother's permanent babysitter because I was 9 years older than him. So I was always watching him. And he would get into these like movie cycles where he would watch a movie over and over. So he got into this Tarzan cycle where we literally watched Tarzan every day for about 6 months. And my mom would always throw so much shade when she saw that we were watching it. And she'd be like, who is this white man swinging? Be like, Tarzan. And then she'd be like, where is he? This is like every time. I don't know how she got every time. She'd be like, he's in the jungle, Mom. She's like, which jungle? And we're like, African jungle. She's like, so you're telling me this white man is swinging through the trees and he's the king of a jungle in Africa? And we're like, yeah. She's like, which African country? We're like, I don't know, Mom. It's a cartoon. She's like, I'm teaching you lies. And we're just like, you know what?
Oh my gosh.
Tarzan and peace. We don't need a history lesson right now.
It's like,
she would literally come into the living room, say that speech, and then she'd be like, this is stupid, and then walk out of the room. We're like, and then it would happen again and again and again. And finally I was like, Mom, we've had this talk.
Thank you for giving me this accent. Also, Bookish Mom is right. We need to stop and give a shout out to the real first queen of Disney, and that is Queen Kita from Atlantis.
Yes. Queen Kita. Yes.
Queen Kita. First of all, she was out here with hips, and she was out here with body.
She was giving looks.
She was giving looks. She had that Caucasian man shook head. He never saw anything like that in England. Never.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's so funny.
Goliath from David. I guess he's tall enough to climb. Oh, I should stop reading comments. Y'all are out of line.
Oh no!
I'm gonna just put the comment there.
We ain't even like this is our chat's always just be going off.
I love our chat. Our chat is amazing.
I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but you know what prince I was really annoyed at, whose voice to date I cannot listen to? Naveen. He has the worst voice of every Disney prince in existence.
I always felt like Tiana got majorly gypped. Like, first of all, she spent most of the movie as a frog. I remember going to the theater expecting greatness, and then what I got, and then I had to pretend to be happy because it was like the first Black Disney princess, so I just had to take it and pretend to be okay, but really I was not okay. And then Prince Naveen to me was not up to her level at all. Like, I know he was a prince, but I was just like.
Also, why did he have to be Mediterranean? There's princes in Africa. I didn't get that part.
For some reason, giving us a Black movie with a black prince and a black woman who stayed a woman the whole movie would have been way too. Also, speaking of which, why did they have to go back to classical animation for her? And then in the very next year came out with Tangled with all of this. And I'm like, first of all, I love Tangled, but y'all did my girl Tiana wrong. Every time you be like, it's a black character, it's our first black man character movie, and they're never human.
They're never human. And my thing is, I don't want them to remake that movie. I don't. I need them to give me another black Disney princess, just a completely another one. Give her a unique storyline, have her be a princess the whole movie, and it would be really nice if she would have a black prince as well. Like, no offense to any, interracial, whatever, that's great. But for the little black girls out there and the little black boys, that would be great to see.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be great to see.
There were some sneaks at like E3, like, or there were like Disney sneaks like 2 years ago at their con, but like we haven't heard anything about any more videos. But there was one where there was supposed to be an African princess. Like that was a sneak that they did, but there's been no talks about it since they leaked that. And to be honest, y'all know me, I would actually prefer that she not have a prince.
Me too.
I would prefer that it was her, like the same way we got Moana just out here trying to take care of people. Like, why can't we get a strong African princess? Because there is stories of African princesses and queens who held it down for their people. Like,
that's true. A prince is not required. But my thing is, if they think it's shocking to do like non-binary or same-sex attraction, then they're definitely not going to give us like a full-on. They're not going to do that.
Those moms freaked out when people suggested, well, I mean, Elsa could have a girlfriend. And it was like, y'all, it's still a cartoon, breathe. Elsa having a girlfriend is not going to change the fact that Frozen 2 was trash.
Frozen 2 was not trash.
There we go.
Brittany hated it for like no reason.
Frozen 2 had like 15 songs. And I was like, can we get to the point? Please.
Oh, no. I like Frozen 2.
That's what I was thinking about.
I had a great time watching it.
I mean, that's good.
Me too. I was tearing up on the plane watching it.
I wasn't.
But here's the thing. Do you like musicals in general?
I love musicals.
Really? You just think about too many songs?
I felt like it fell into the Dangerous Disney sequel. However,
girl, you mean to tell me that was on par with Little Mermaid 2?
First of all, nothing is on par with Little Mermaid 2 because Little Mermaid 2 is literally the bottom of the sequel. Little Mermaid 2 was literally the Little Mermaid in reverse.
It was.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I did really like the Aladdin sequel. I will put it out there.
Yes. I think Abominable says what I'm thinking. It's like the songs were good, but like think about the story. It was literally plot hole after plot hole after plot hole.
It was. But I enjoyed the songs. I enjoyed it for what it was because my expectations were already like beyond non-existent. So I was like pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh
yeah. I wasn't a big Frozen fan originally. So when I got to the second one, I was like, oh, okay, well.
Shade Tree said Two was trash. Okay, wait, I should be clear. I love the soundtrack off of Lion King too. Like I walk around like deception. Like that's one of my favorite Disney songs of all time.
The songs were decent. Some were even bops. The storyline.
Yeah. But it fell into the typical like Disney sequel kind of thing. Yeah. It's like even Frozen 2, I literally run to the house and I'd be like, I just start screaming into the unknown.
Right.
I feel like the Disney sequels and like subsequent, because some of them go into like 3 and 4, they're like money. They feel like money grabs. It's like the first ones are actual, like they put effort into it. They work on them for years. It's like tight. And then the rest of them feel like money grabs to me. I'm like, clearly you just made this to capitalize off of the acclaim and money that you made with the first one. And you're just trying to get some more money because this is not it.
Yeah, I think of all of the Disney sequels, I will have to give it to Aladdin because I think we actually still had story. Plus, Aladdin's daddy was fine. So
He was.
He sure was. He sure.
It's like trying to think. Okay, well the comments are saying Mulan 2. Did you guys watch Mulan 2?
I did. I liked it. It was fine.
I feel like I did, but I can't remember it. So
It was with the 3 princesses that they had to guide to their arranged marriage.
oh, that one.
Oh, okay. So you bring up a very important thing here, Night Owl. Toy Story 2, in my opinion, is the best of the 3. Like, I'm only talking about Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 because Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 were for us.
Yeah.
Toy Story 4 was for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as storyline goes, I think Toy Story 2 had the most depth. Like
Yeah.
the depth of the story was really good. I don't talk about Toy Story 3 because I was in theater like a punk. Because I
lying.
Crying like a baby.
Toys. So I was in there like, this is the dark. There are kids in here. Like, why are we gonna kill them? I was right. Because I was just like, this is what we gonna do.
That's what Pixar does, though. They destroy your soul slowly.
You know what my favorite Pixar movie is, though?
Which
like, and people are just really like, really, that one? Meet the Robinsons is like my favorite Pixar movie. I love that movie.
Meet the Robinsons needs to get more love. I cried on that one too.
Yeah, me too.
Is there a Disney Pixar movie that you did not cry on?
I can't think of a single one.
Maybe A Bug's Life. I didn't cry on that one.
I feel like I did.
I don't remember because that one was so long ago.
So long ago.
Yeah, like Toy Story was like.
Y'all are forgetting I'm only 24. It wasn't that long ago for me. Not as long as you guys.
Hey, we're only like 6 or 7 years older now. Calm down.
My favorite Pixar movie will always be Up.
Okay, listen. I love Up, but now like I'm older now and I appreciate Up on a different level because that first 2 minutes of that movie was one of the most beautiful love stories with no words.
So beautiful. It was iconic.
My favorite is actually Monsters, Inc.
I didn't cry on that one.
I
think I probably did.
I did. When he was putting Boo back in the room, yep, I did. Plus,
over everything though. So
Monsters, Inc. is where they introduce Boo, which goes into the whole Pixar theory. So, you know. I loves me a good theory, and the Pixar theory is fantastic. Okay, so Night Owl, Inside Out.
Oh, I cried.
Wrecked me. Because, like, I talked to all of my military brat friends. All of us were ugly crying at the end of Inside Out because all of us have moved our whole lives. And so, like, it was like when she broke down talking about how it sucks to move and how she's got to meet new friends, but she misses her old friends. I was literally there like, I am too old for this.
Oh my God. I still haven't seen that one because I just knew I would be emotionally distraught.
If you've never seen Inside Out or Coco, I just recommend that you mentally prepare yourself because
Coco is just depressing. Like it's just, it was literally like made to just like someone shot your dog depressing.
I haven't seen that one either.
And Coco, like you know what? One day we should have a movie day and just watch Coco together. And we can have a reaction because Coco was the first time that I was like, Mom, and then my mom was in the theater, but she said, "Oh Lord, did they just?" I was like, "Ma." Oh, and I think the newest one is Onward.
I love Onward.
Onward, like.
I think it's the funny thing that happened. Me, my dad, and my sister and my nephew, we all went to go see Onward. And it was like right before Houston shut down. So no one was in there. It was just us, right? And so when we get to the part, and I know Brittany knows what I'm talking about, I'm not going to spoil it. But we get to the part where really you start boohooing, we're like crying and crying and crying. All of us are like spitting. My nephew going to turn around and go, "Yeah, I don't got to cry. It's just a movie."
The shade.
He's 4.
Sitting in there like,
what is wrong with you guys?
He's like, what's wrong with these adults I'm with? Like, someone can get me.
Nah, bro, it'll have you depressed. I cannot rewatch it. It's on Disney Plus.
Really? Okay, I'll watch it.
I didn't ugly cry with Onward.
I have a lot of stuff to catch up on, like all the newer Pixars, and then like I still haven't seen Moana. Don't judge me.
I love Moana.
Even though I listen to the soundtrack all the time, like it makes sense.
It's so good.
It's like, also though, we've hit 45 minutes, so we do kind of have to start transitioning.
Yeah, we have to get to our book club stuff.
But
Yeah.
we just want to thank everybody this year for participating in Throwbackathon. Y'all don't understand what it was like to go into quarantine pages or go online and just see that we've been tagged, and like y'all are putting pictures out, y'all are tagging us, y'all are telling other people about it. That was freaking awesome.
That was amazing to watch all the TBR videos and how like much people were participating on the Instagram prompts. We liked as many pictures as we could and like tagged and reposted as many as we could. I'm sure there's still more that we missed out on. So we'll be going back and trying to find the ones we missed, and definitely want to thank everybody for participating. And we cannot wait for y'all to see what we have next year, because we're going to be stepping this shit up every year.
Yes.
Yes. And we're probably going to change the month again, just letting y'all know, because there was a lot of readathons this month, and we got to find a month where like we're not all up in everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
So well, I feel like we chose June because what was the other one? The reading rush changed. It like moved to the month that we were going to originally do it in, so we pushed it back, and then the world caught on fire and all this stuff happened, and we were just like,
okay.
The reading rush announced theirs, and it was like the same week that we had planned Throwbackathon. I think that's what it was. And we were just kind of like, well, we know we're going to get overshadowed by the reading rush,
so we're not even going to try to compete with them.
What? We need a naked readathon month?
Ooh.
What is
Tati, do I want to know, like, why do I feel like the next thing? Oh,
no readathons. I was so confused.
I was like getting into it. I was like, I want to know more. Like,
Ocean scandalous ass over there was ready for that.
I was ready.
For some reason, that turned into like Ocean being like, so is this a romance readathon?
Like, outside.
Oh my gosh.
That really sounds like what a readathon for like covers with naked people on it. That literally sounds like that's what that is. Ocean and I should
be excited. I was like, ooh, all the photos that I could do.
Came in three
photos.
Okay, so let's get into not our, because I don't want any beef. My quarterly pick, which is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa.
I'm going to eat my brownie while we do this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
give the synopsis. Troy, take it away.
Okay, so this book is about a girl named Lena who is Brittany's face. I cannot. It's about a girl named Lena. She's left at the altar by her husband Andrew, and fast forward a few years, she ends up meeting them again for this work project she has to be a part of, and she gets partnered up with his brother, who talked his brother into dumping her, and they have to work at it, and basically they fall in love. That is literally the entire synopsis of The Worst Best Man. So let's start off with the character.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, the first thing I wanted to talk about is that this is an interracial romance. So for those, I know some people, like I got a DM on Instagram actually after I posted my picture, and they're basically talking about how they wanted to know if it was an interracial romance. I said yes, it was. And then the person kind of talked about how they thought that our book club would be focusing on like Black books and things like that. So look at Brittany's face. So I think we just explain to them that we're highlighting Black writers and Black authors
and characters as well.
And obviously Black characters, and the main character is an Afro-Brazilian, and we thought that was something new and different that we hadn't explored. So I just want to get that out of the way for the foolishness that people might be thinking. Okay, I'm done.
Wow. Okay.
I hope if you sent the DM that you also participated.
Brittany.
I'm sorry.
We're not dragging anybody this live. This is a positivity live.
Okay, going back, we are going to start on the characters. So let's just start with the three main characters, Lena, Max. Wait, no, right? Lena, Max, and Andrew. So let's start with Lena because she's probably the easiest. Who wants to go first?
Well, since Brittany is busy eating, I will go. So I really loved the fact that Lena was this Afro-Brazilian woman. I loved that the culture of Afro-Brazilians was brought strongly into the novel. There were a lot of sentences in Portuguese, and it was not always translated to English, which I appreciated. I liked that it was just there. I liked the relationship that Carolina had with her family. She had a very strong matriarchal based family, and I loved seeing that and how they all worked together and loved each other. And they were like the messy aunties too. And I loved that. So the cultural part of the novel was really rich, and there were definitely some things that were put in there that people may have not known before, like learning about Brazilian culture, learning about things like the foods that they eat and common sayings. And one of my favorite things that was in the novel was the highlighting of capoeira, because when I was in college, I was a theater major, and we had different classes. And one of the classes that I took, because we always had a movement class every semester, and one semester we had like Afro-Cuban dance, and then one semester we had capoeira. And it was so fun because it's basically like this dance or this fighting style that the Brazilians basically had to hide from the colonizers because they didn't want them to know that they were learning how to defend themselves. So it was hidden behind these like dance-like graceful movements, but really they were like learning how to kick some ass. And so I loved that capoeira was highlighted. I was not expecting that at all. So that was one of my favorite parts of this novel, was just seeing Afro-Brazilian culture being highlighted. And I feel like for people who may not be familiar with that, or for people that may not be familiar with any type of Afro-Latina culture, that they probably learned some things new. So,
Brittany?
What are we talking about? Are we discussing what we liked, or are we discussing the characters? I forgot.
We're starting with Carolina and her character and what we liked about her.
Yeah. Obviously, I went to Brazil last year, so I loved every part of that part, and it made me hungry because they actually talked about a lot of food.
They did.
Food was discussed in this book, and some of it was discussed in enough detail to where I felt like I wanted to taste it. But I will actually read what Mrs. MOC reader.
Yes.
I like that the white man in the story felt like a white man. Sometimes in interracial romance, these white men feel like they swagger jacked black men. I've never read romance, so I'll take your word for that when you say it. But I don't know because I listened to it via audiobook or what. But he got on my nerves. But I mean, he was
we will hold that until we talk about him.
So the two men in this story are Andrew, who is his fiance, and then his younger brother. What's his younger brother's name?
Max.
Max, thank you. Then we have Max, who is the brother. And one thing I did like, I will say this, I liked the fact that it wasn't just this fantastic brother relationship that could do no wrong, that it was very highlighted that their whole lives they've been pit against each other, and that they actually had a very crappy relationship. Granted, I know that was kind of a ploy to kind of give it an excuse, but I still liked it. And then I liked the fact that he was actually the better one at his job than his brother. Yet his brother was the one getting all the good things. Because, he had a lot of demons from his brother.
Yeah, I want to talk about Max and Andrew in a second, but I also remember some stuff about Carolina. Like, I really liked the fact that she was a wedding planner. And she was her own business woman. She was an entrepreneur. She started everything from scratch, from the ground up. And we really see her struggles, like fighting to keep her business afloat and run her own business as a Black woman, and all the struggles that she faced, all of the things that she had to overcome, which a lot of the novel centers around this like amazing opportunity that she's given that the conflict of the novel comes in because of the amazing opportunity she's given, she's kind of auditioning for, and she's forced to work with Max, who is her ex-fiance's brother. And that's like the setup of the love story in the novel. But I like seeing her on like her grown woman, like businesswoman tip, and how good she was at her job. Like, I really like the fact, like, I feel like sometimes in romantic comedies, like the kind of chick lit genre, they'll show like the woman in her career, but she's like bad at her career, or she's fumbling, or she's always making mistakes. Or I've read so many chick lit type romantic comedy type books where usually with the white female protagonist, but they're just like clumsy and like, you know, like Bridget Jones, like making all these like embarrassing mistakes at work and like somehow managing to come out on top, but like fumbling along the way and being like, oh no, I don't know how I like came to this party in a costume and I thought it was a costume party, but it's not. And everyone's dressed in like regular clothes, like, you know, like shit like that. And like, I like the fact that in this novel, especially because it was a Black woman lead, that Mia Sosa did not do that. She did not put Carolina in situations where she was bad at her job or fumbling, for the most part, where she was like strong, in charge, good. Like people were like, you're so great at this. Like people loved working with her. She's good at what she does. Brittany?
Remember, she got that because her family was a family of hardworking, entrepreneurial women. Like their husbands left and they were like, bet. Not only that, they're her prime investors. Like, you don't talk about Black excellence. Like,
can I also say, this is not shade. I know someone's going to take it as shade, but it's really not. I also enjoyed, and I know Oshale can back me up on this, a lot of books that are romance-based. The girl is always super, extremely bookish and introverted and overly, like, shy, like, to weird levels. And I was really
like
glad. Yeah, like that. And I was really glad that she was not like that. And she actually, there was no talk about her wanting to have, like, a library in her kitchen or something. Like it was none of that, like no Belle type Beauty and Beast type thing. I was so happy because I get so tired of reading the same character over and over and over again. It's so nice that she had something that she liked aside from books. Like, you know, she was a wedding planner, and before that, what was she?
Paralegal.
Paralegal, yeah.
Like it's literally like sometimes in these new adult romances and romances in general, especially contemporaries, it's like the not like other girls starter pack. Like reads a lot, wears glasses, has brown hair and pale skin.
No makeup.
She's ugly, but she's actually really beautiful. Stumbles all the time, drops things, blushes and hides her eyes. Like wears sweaters.
Licks her lips every 2 seconds.
Wears Converse. Like what the actual fuck? Like I'm like, I know 50, 11 girls like this.
Meanwhile, they had Lena saying her ideal Friday night was putting on some like might be dirty clothes and going to get donuts from her mom's shop.
Yes.
I was like, this is me. Mm-hmm. I do this all the time. Thanks.
We stand.
I was like, I don't think this is a person of color type activity. I feel like every woman has days where they're like, so I'm just gonna this might be clean.
Yes.
Like that was her ideal day off was just being a fat chick on the couch. Life. I'm satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do so Miss oh Lord. I did not read Real Women Knit yet.
I haven't read that yet either.
Me neither. We have this topic is going to be very interesting. So where do we want to go next?
We can definitely talk about this. Let's finish talking about the characters though. I do want to talk about Andrew and Max and whoever else.
Okay, you want to start with Andrew or Max first?
Do Andrew first.
Yeah, he seems easier to do first.
Yeah.
So for me, I think Andrew was kind of like, I don't know. I don't even consider him a real character because it was like he was there for the purpose of the plot. Like he had to be there for the plot to move forward. But he was in all of 4 scenes in the whole book. So it was like you only really got Andrew from the lens of Max and Lena. So it was kind of like I couldn't really put like my own spin on what he was or who he was. I was just like, okay, I know he like pretty much uses his brother's work as his own. Like basically he just like takes from Max. I get that. He had a rivalry with Max. I get that. He left Lena at the altar. I get that. But it really wasn't a lot to go on for me. Like, you know, like I was just like, okay, you're there. You're the ex. You're a jerk. I get it. But I also had a hard time like considering him a jerk because I'm just like, he left you at the altar, but at the same time, it was just kind of like, would you have wanted him to marry you and not want you? Because he was a jerk, definitely. He was a spineless jerk for not telling her, like, hey, I don't want this. And instead he was like, hey, Max, you got that? And hopped out. Like, that was wrong.
By text message.
Andrew reminds, oh no,
I was saying like he sent his brother a text message.
Oh yes.
To tell the woman who was in her wedding dress, not married.
Oh, you would have died that day if that was me. I would have been a widow before I became a bride. And then I would have pled insanity and I would have gotten off with probation and house arrest. But anyway, Andrew to me was definitely a very two-dimensional character. He was a foil for Max and he was a plot device. He was there to move the plot forward. Yeah. What I would have liked to have seen is I would have liked to have seen things from Andrew's point of view, because there were a lot of things that never really fully got answered from his eyes, like why he truly left her at the altar and why he felt that way, why he was so competitive with his brother. Yes, his parents set them up, but at the same time, parents set their children up for a lot of things. And you can either come together and be a unit, or you can fall into that trap. And Andrew kind of reminded me of those men who are so afraid of their mothers that I feel like the only reason he proposed to Lena, was going to marry him or marry her, was because his mom liked her so much, to the point where it was mentioned several times in the book that his mom was like, you idiot, why did you let her go? Like, she was the best thing ever. His mom really, really liked her. And he just never had the guts to stand up to his mom, because she was just like this powerful boss. And she gave her sons like positions in the company. So she was definitely like a very strong matriarchal figure. And I got the vibe from Andrew. I mean, I don't know because we never saw his point of view, but I got the vibe from him that he was like scared of his mom and didn't want to let her down. And because his mom liked Lena so much, I think that was the reason why he was willing to marry this woman. He didn't really want to. And when he got the first opportunity to back down, like his brother literally, it's like his bachelor party, he's drunk, and his brother literally says a few words to him, and he's like, all right, yeah, you're right, I'm out. And I'm like, wait, that's all it took?
Listen, so your brother, who you don't talk about, who
you don't like,
that you don't like, came to your bachelor party, said some things that made sense, and that was enough for you to dip. I'm with Lucas and Scarlett's mom in the comments. There would have been bloodshed.
Yes. And the way that Lena just like swallowed it and just took it, even though she was like completely hurt and humiliated, she was better than me, honey, because I would have been like, Your Honor, I don't know what happened. I just blacked out. You can imagine how I felt.
I saw red, and when I woke up, he was dead.
I would have had statements after statement after statement from psychologists, doctors, like, we believe that she has multiple personality disorder. Like, honey.
I mean, novelist also brings up a very good point. Andrew and Max also had no sense of sibling code.
None. Oh my goodness.
Because I can't possibly imagine.
If you have had sex with my sibling, we will never, ever, ever be together. Like, that's just.
We are never.
Like, literally never. Like, that to me, that's gross.
Well, that was why when
I don't want to judge, but
I read the premise of the story and I was like, but this is your brother's ex-fiance. They were fiancés. Obviously,
It's one thing if like they dated when they were kids or like in middle school and it was like cute little puppy love and then y'all grew up and then you fell in love with him or her. Okay, cool, you know. All right. Everybody's fine with it. But when you're in like a grown relationship, no. And they were living together, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
But then keep in mind, like, they also mentioned that Max's girlfriend left him to be with his brother. And I was just like...
No, I thought she just said that she deserved better. I don't think she actually got with Andrew.
It says that they actually dated and that Andrew broke up with her later on.
Oh.
They didn't go far, but
did they just...
Well, there's that part in the book where Max says, oh, nothing came of it, but she left me and said that she was aware that my brother was a better choice, but nothing came of it.
Yeah, they never actually did anything with each other.
I mean, that's still jacked up.
Yeah, that's terrible. She should have lied.
She should have. She should have lied like a rug.
Like, come on. Like, there was multiple times in this book where they were like revealing like what happened, and I was like, where are y'all support systems?
Non-existent.
And see, that's one reason I don't. And, you know, I said this to you guys in the group chat that if I would have known that one of my least favorite tropes of all time was in this book, I would have never, ever made it my quarterly pick. I hate books where there are siblings and then the main character is who is being fought over. I hate it. I do not like it. And I just went into it knowing I was just like, I'm not really going to like this as much as I could have if it was just, I don't know, his friend or something. It's still terrible. But I mean... siblings.
I've read this trope before and enjoyed it. And as we're talking, I'm realizing that the reason I enjoyed this trope in the past is because the siblings involved actually liked each other. So it added even more tension to the story where it wasn't like an easy cop out, like, oh, I'm leaving you for your brother because you're horrible and you're this evil villain. It was like, no, I actually really love you and we have like a great relationship. And then I met your brother and like something just happened and like this is like my soulmate and now I'm torn and it's like you love your brother and y'all are tight and I don't want to come in between y'all. So there's all this tension and angst and it's like it's a true love triangle, because I always tell people this, because a love triangle always thinks it's like a love triangle, people always say is like two people fighting over one person. But the actual definition of a love triangle is there's love on all three sides. And that's why it's tragic, because everyone loves and cares for one another. And that's where the tragedy comes in, because someone's going to get their heart broken and they really don't deserve it. Yeah. So that's the whole point. That's why a love triangle is horrible. It's not like, oh, well, this person's a horrible person and I'm running away to you and you're the better choice. And like everyone gets to breathe a sigh of relief and it's all so easy. It's actually supposed to be really hard and really like sad, and you're actually supposed to be torn. That's the whole point of a love triangle. Like you're being tugged in two directions. Your heart is being tugged in two directions. So like those other books I read, I remember one book specifically, it was like the brothers were like BFFs, like they were there for each other, like they lost their parents, they held each other down. And then at a housewarming party where he's literally moving in with his girlfriend, he introduces her to his older brother, and it's like they just click. And she's torn. She's like, oh my God, like, and it's like really, really angsty. And you're just like, and every other chapter, you're like, no, stay with him. And you're like, no, leave him. And you're like, no, stay with him. Like, and then the brothers are like tense around each other and it's sad. And then like one brother's like, I'll walk away. Like the other brother's like, no. And that's why it's so good. And I was just like, that's why I liked it before. I think in this story, it was hard for me because Andrew was so two-dimensional and I didn't know what he was thinking really or who he really was, and he was just there to kind of be a foil, and he was just this mustache twirling like villain, like ha ha ha, I tied you to the train tracks type of dude. And so that's why like the tension wasn't there for me, so it was harder for me to like root for the relationship, I guess.
And for me, I think especially I love your point about love triangles, because people love to say like, you know, they'll say like Twilight's a love triangle and Hunger Games is a love triangle. I'm just like, but in both of those senses, you knew who she was going to pick. So it's really not a love triangle if you know who they're going to go for. And at the very least, when there is love on both sides, like when it's like, wow, I love you, but then I also love you, and you're your best friend and you're his sibling. And at the very least, it's like, I'm going to be sitting there like, oh my God, like, who do I root for? Who should you be with? Like, don't ruin their relationship, you know? But with this story, I was just like, okay, I guess she can end up with Max. I really don't care because I didn't have any play on either one of them. Like, I didn't really care if she was with Max. I didn't really care if she was with Andrew. So I was just like, oh, okay, well, I'm sure you're going to choose Max. He's literally the main character. So I guess. But I feel like if Andrew would have gotten a point of view in this and you would have gotten into his mind to see how he reacts, because like even at the end, when he goes to apologize to Lena, he like stares at her for 5 minutes. And she's just like, okay, can you leave? And I'm just like, okay, but so can you tell me why he's like that though? Like, there obviously is something unresolved with him. Like, whether it's unresolved with you or unresolved with his brother, but there was something unresolved. And it kind of just left this open-ended sense on his side. Like, I know everything closed up with Max and Lena, but of course that was going to happen because y'all are the main characters. But with Andrew, it was just like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll fix things with my brother, but for right now, I'm just gonna go back to Florida. Like, it was just like, really? That was kind of like a cop-out. And it just kind of ended kind of drastically. Like, the ending just ended. And I was like, oh, okay, well, sure. I wasn't rooting for them, but then I also wasn't like, boo, I hope you guys don't end up together. You know what I mean?
Another beautiful point that was brought up. Also in the book, Lena didn't even really love Andrew. She just wanted to marry him for convenience and contentment. That's why she was very hesitant with going with Max, because she actually liked him.
I think that's definitely something to be talked about, is the fact that Lena felt like showing emotion was weak. And because she felt that showing emotion was weak, and she felt that she always had to be strong because of her circumstances, her upbringing, her race, her experiences.
That you told about that, I was just like,
well, yeah, but I understood where the author was going. Like, she always felt like she had to be strong and emotion was weak. So obviously allowing herself to really fall in love and love somebody fully, that's emotion, and that's being out of control and not always like holding everything together. And I think that's why she thought Andrew was the perfect choice, because she didn't feel all of these crazy out of control emotions for him. She thought they got along well enough. He had a good career. She had a good career. They thought they could be like these boss part, like, you know, like, you're a boss, I'm a boss, like, let's build this empire. She had a very like calculated, logical, cold approach to her relationship, basically a business transaction. And so when he jilted her, she felt hurt, but she felt more humiliated than anything. It's not like, I felt like she mourned the idea of him more than she actually mourned him and their actual relationship.
Remember, after all of that happened, she still reached back out to him to try to convince him that it could work.
And even her cousin tells Max, she's like, well, what you described as her perfect guy is her worst nightmare.
Yes.
Like, she's not going to go for that because she wants somebody who won't break down her barriers and won't break down that mask that she has built up for so many years. So well, she didn't say you, but she was meaning it like that. But, you know, that person was not going to work for her unless they could completely break her down. And I think for me, as far as that was concerned with Lena and her whole breakdown, I feel like I would have liked it to have gone a little bit longer because it seemed kind of sudden. It was like, oh, you got some D, and all of a sudden everything started breaking down. And I was just like, but was it that good to the point where all of a sudden your whole mask just fell? I was just like, come on now. Like, like, you held it on for a couple of years, and all of a sudden the brother comes and it's just like, whoosh.
Gone.
Her panties dropped, guys. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
Her barrier dropped when her panties dropped.
Period.
I wanted to go more into like how you felt about her reasonings for not showing emotion because you made a face.
I think it was because it was mentioned every single time she felt an emotion that I was annoyed with it, because it was like, we get it. We know you don't show emotion. We know you don't. We know why you don't show emotion. Even when they did the interviews, she's cold. She's emotionless. Like, it was just like, we get it, sis. You don't show emotion. We get it. You do not have to mention it in every one of her chapters with her voice in it. She talked about her emotions, and it was just like,
it did get old, because I don't think if you're showing us instead of telling us how she feels, then you wouldn't need to continuously remind us that she has this in Max and she's had one for years, because you're telling us that one time, then you should have showed us the rest of the time. Like, show us her move away from Max, show us her move forward with somebody who's more like an Andrew figure. Like, you didn't have to bring Andrew back if you didn't want to, but if you wanted to like push her more towards a different character who was in a sense like what Andrew was to her, then okay. Because then that's you showing us, instead of you telling us every 5 seconds that, you know, she lost this job because she started crying. And then I'm like, I get it. You lost your job and it made you really want to stay strong and keep your mask on and everything. But at the same time, it was just like, Max could olive wipe her face and she'd talk about that. And I'd be like, okay, I get it. I get it. He's amazing and he's tearing you down. But can you show me instead of telling me that? Like, I don't need you to tell me. Like, with your words, with the writer's words, it should have been there where I was just like, okay, you are going through this transition with him.
I think when it comes to the writing, that was one of the things that I struggled with. Was there was, like you said, Troy, there was a lot of telling, not showing. And I think that readers are very intelligent, like we're very smart, and you don't have to like lead us to the water, right? You can just put the breadcrumbs there and we'll walk to the water ourselves. And it's actually preferable. There were some sentences that like threw me off and I like took some pictures of them. I only like, or paragraphs or whatever. There weren't a lot of them, but there were a few. And this one was on page 85. Like there's certain ways that like things are written that like kind of takes me out of the story a little bit, and I'm like, what's happening?
Oh wait, was that before or after the restaurant?
This is after the restaurant.
We gotta talk about the restaurant scene.
She will never get over the restaurant ever. She will die talking about that scene.
Let me talk about this little paragraph. So it says, I'm trying to decide where to start reading from so it makes sense. His ab muscles are so obnoxious they show through his clothes. And mother of God, the definition in his forearms suggests either he's a workout-aholic or masturbates frequently. Now that I think about it, his right forearm is more developed than the left one. And then it just goes into the next paragraph. wait.
We forgot about that analysis. I completely
do. So that just threw me off. Like I literally like stopped reading and I was like, because she just moves on to the next thing, and I'm like, wait a second, is this really true? Like, is his forearm different? What?
Does he have forearm difference?
That's why I was like, wait, is she being facetious? Like, is she joking, or is that true? Like, is his right forearm actually more developed than the left?
I couldn't tell. Like, it was not.
Because the way she said it, she was just like, now that I think about it, his right forearm is more developed than the left one. I'm not like, wait, how long have you been staring at his forearm?
You know what makes it worse is there's literally a scene where he goes to his best friend's house and his best friends are like, are you literally like nervous that you're going to get off to her? And I was just like, so what, you are?
Okay, and there's another one. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Oh, this is from Max's point of view. And for me, not to be one of those toxic masculinity type people, but it took me out of the story because it didn't read like something a man would say, but then I don't want to stereotype something that a man would say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because all men aren't the same. But I'll just read this. This is from Max. He says, an hour and a half later, I stride into the sugar shop in Georgetown. For a minute, I simply take in the sweets. I take in the sweets that seemingly cover every available surface of the bakery. Pies, cakes, eclairs, and chocolates. For another few seconds, I consider dropping to my knees and praying at this altar of sugary perfection. The space is cheerful with bright white walls and several bistro tables set in soft pastels. I've never known a man talk about pastels, but it's fine. And the smells, God, the smells. Well, a heterosexual man. It's as though I dabbled cake-scented cologne on my wrists. That sent me. Cake on my wrists. How did I not know this place existed? Does it deliver? Can I get a job here? I just remember reading that paragraph and I was like, is this Lena? Or Max
and see, I wholeheartedly.
I was like, wait, what's happening? And then I was like, wait, I don't want to be that person. There's so many different types of men. But it did throw me off. Not gonna lie.
I think as far as Max is concerned, especially because I listened to the entire audiobook, I did not take out my actual book at all, even though I have it. I only listened to audiobooks. It was like I couldn't take it was so hard for me to take Max seriously. I don't know if it was just the narrator was really like I would be like laying in bed going, what like literally all Max could say was oh my god, and instead of him saying oh my god, he'd go oh my god, and I'm just like
that was crazy. Oh my
I didn't even want to listen to the audiobook out loud. I was like, someone is going to think I'm watching porn. What is going on? I felt so like confused.
I was very glad to be in the house by myself because one day I will edit that vlog where I'm listening to it. I'm just going.
I couldn't do the audiobook. I did it for like a few chapters and I was like, I can't do this.
I put it on like almost 2 times speed because they were talking like this, and I was like, okay, no, we gotta make this quicker.
You gotta speed it up. Also, like you said, Troy, the narration was too dramatic. Like I like a more natural narration. I only want it to be dramatic when when something dramatic is happening. I don't need it to be dramatic all the time. Like it's like they spoke in italicized letters. Everything they said was in bold and italicized. Like it was like this is not necessary. But that was just the audiobook narrators. Like I feel like when I read the Goodreads reviews, people were very torn. You either had people that absolutely adored the narration and thought that it brought the story to life and really enjoyed it, and then you had people who like absolutely hated it, and there was nobody in the middle. It was either people really enjoyed it or people really hated it. So
I have questions.
Are we going to get to Brittany's favorite part? Did I just growl?
I have an idea. I'm going to specifically bring up certain scenes, and I just want to know your thoughts on certain scenes. I am a non-romance reader. Keep this in mind. So obviously, my perspective was to get a full-blown cackle. But I know y'all read it and might have thought something different. So obviously, the first scene is that first restaurant scene where she growled. Obviously.
Honestly, okay. It's really not too shocking in romances for someone to growl. Typically, it's the man. Typically, it's like she does something to make him jealous and he growls.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a grr thing.
Or like it's like during sex or like a prelude to sex when he like grabs her or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like in those type of moments.
So based off of what you both just said, it's still not normal for her to be growling in a restaurant.
Now, okay, well, they're never normally at restaurants and like the public like that. They're normally to themselves when it happens.
I was like, sis, you growled because he got smart with you?
My favorite part was in that, like, she growled, and then literally the next chapter starts with her being like, I cannot believe I just growled. I'm like, me too, sis.
My favorite part was when you got to Max's POV. He was like, I want to make her do it again.
I was like, in the restaurant, sir? Decorum? Like, what is this?
It didn't help. It did not help that Brittany read it before us, so much before us, that when I got to the scene, I started hysterically laughing. Because I would have never laughed if it was not for Brittany at all. Like, never.
I was really like, is this what you have me reading? Is this your queen? This book?
Also, can we talk about the fact that she literally gets the biggest career opportunity of her life, and she's spending it playing pranks on him? I was like,
him and like
really
all that stuff, and I was like,
there was so much misdirected anger in this book. I was just like, sis, how are you so mad at Max and not Andrew? I don't. Oh, and don't get me started on the fact that towards the ending, you find out that Max never said anything.
Yes.
I was so angry.
No. So we might as well just talk about that whole thing. So actually, you're right. If this was a rom-com, I would have enjoyed it. That is actually a fact.
Absolutely.
I would have gone to the theater and watched this. I would have gotten a full cackle because,
hilarious.
The ending of this book, well, not even the ending, the reveal of this book, I was like, Max, you don't even have a good relationship with your brother. You should have been fighting him on site.
On site.
Y'all don't like each other on site. What? Like,
Max felt like a weird responsibility to like cover up Andrew's complete ineptness though, because even like with their mom, like remember how Andrew literally like stole ideas and shit from him for years because they were forced to work together, and he never snitched on him, he never outed him, even though they didn't have a good relationship. And then like Andrew would always throw him under the bus. Like the mom would be like, "So how's the project going, Andrew?" And Andrew would be like, "So Max, how's the project?" And I'm like, like he literally Andrew used Max, but Max allowed himself to be used because he felt like a weird guilt or like weird responsibility to his brother. It was so bizarre. I was like, you're in an abusive relationship, sir.
Right, with your brother.
And then what made it so much weirder was that it was like he was so easily manipulated by Andrew, but at the same time, he wanted to fight him all the time. And I'm just like, can you pick a side? Are you the victim or are you the suspect? What is going on?
The whole book, I was like, just deck him. Siblings fight all the time. Deck him. And then at the end, when he did that reveal, he was like, I just made that part up. Damn. I don't understand why there should not have been a fight. Like,
on site.
There comes a time in every sibling's life where you have to catch the hands of your other sibling.
Literally, I once went to school with a whelp on my face from my older sister because I don't know what I refused to do. I refused to do something. And every teacher I passed by, they were just like, is everything okay at home? I was like, oh, yeah, let's go and fight with my sister. Like, it's really not that deep. You should have just punched him out one good time.
One good time.
He would have said nothing else.
Andrew, not only that, but Andrew also took your insecurities. When he found out that she was dating his ex, he took your insecurities and dug them into your soul. Like, oh, well, did she tell you that she came to talk to me after the wedding? On site. How did you let him walk out that room?
And honestly, it was because it was one of those things where Andrew was secretly jealous of Max because Max was just naturally better than Andrew at the things that Andrew was supposed to be good at. And the mom, for some reason, favored Andrew. And so it was like this weird, toxic family dynamic where the mom favored Andrew over Max, but the things that she favored Andrew for was really things that Max was doing, but Andrew was taking from Max, but Max allowed Andrew to take from him. I'm like,
it was too much. It was.
All I wanted to say is, holidays are gonna be a bitch in this family.
Okay, so that was my thing the whole time I was reading this. I was like, so I'm assuming that Max and Lena are going to get together. So like, what is this going to be like since she was probably introduced to the family after she got engaged to Andrew? So, because it was like the second restaurant scene where Max's family friend came up, was like, I know you from somewhere. And he was like, oh, you were Andrew's fiance. And it was like,
he did not know how to read the room. Why would anyone even say that?
Why?
I'm like, instead of the author telling us that Lena was emotional, like we got Lena's emotional reaction to the scene. Like she started sweating, like she was freaking out, basically like wishing that he would go away. And I was like, hey Lena, I feel for you, sis. Like,
can you imagine the future? Picture this. Lena and Max send their kids off to visit Uncle Andrew's house. Kids are curious, dig through Uncle Andrew's things, find a picture of their mom and Uncle Andrew. Uncle Andrew, what's this? Like, this is where my mind goes. Like, I'm reading and I'm like, what will you tell the children? How will you make this okay for the next generation? It's going to be one of them families who married, and then one day it's going to come out the family reunion, a barbecue, when somebody gets too drunk. And it's all gonna come out, and the kid's gonna be like, Mom.
No. Let's be real. Andrew and Max's mama sound like the kind of woman that would get drunk and be like, well, I mean, I guess I still have you as the daughter-in-law I've always wanted.
Right? Kids are gonna be like, Mama, Andrew too. Like,
you know what? It's like the perfect ammo for anything Max ever says to Andrew at any family gathering. Just like, oh, at least I didn't fuck your girlfriend. Like, that's all he has to say each time.
Listen, I'm sorry. If Andrew says that, Max should be whooping his behind. No.
So
He's like,
uncomfortable.
listen, and I am still 100,000% convinced that Max should have been walloping Andrew at one point. The whole time on that scene, I was like, whoop his ass. I can't imagine. First of all, y'all don't have any bro code. He takes all of your stuff as his own. Your last girlfriend said she wished she knew him before she knew you. Then finally happy, and he comes in and tells you that the girl you was with actually wanted him back before you on site.
After you looked at all that, I'm like, Max needs therapy. Max needs therapy. He has been in an abusive relationship with his brother since he was born.
No, the worst part about Max was at the end when she's giving that toast at her cousin's wedding and he's doing these mind gymnastics. And he's just like, he's like, but of course, she didn't love Andrew. She loved me. I forgot all her walls. But I'm just like, yo.
It was like, dun, 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 dun.
Ooh, honey.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
I do not agree. Brittany, never read The Wedding Date. I hate that book.
Listen, I'm not reading anymore. Like, I should be very clear. Obviously, my library is acting a fool. Beverly is still not available, and I'm definitely not buying it. Brittany Thompson, Brittany, I ain't reading no more romance. I'm not reading any more romance unless it's in the book club. I read Wonder by Christina C. Jones. I put myself out there, y'all. I'm good. I'm still 1,000% not a romance reader. And I know in the comments, I know the next line is going to be, but you haven't found the right one. Listen.
Bullshit. You cannot like something. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm not a romance reader. I will read it for the sake of partaking in the conversation, but even in this conversation, I still feel like I am an outsider in a conversation.
In the world of cocks and dicks. Your favorite word.
Can we talk about that?
Can we talk about this?
Why was it penis, cock, dick? Like, how many synonyms of penis did we need?
Can I just say this? Can I just say this? I need my romance writers to pick a lane, okay? Or it's going to be a dick. It's not going to be both in the same story.
In the same sentence half the time. It was literally in the same paragraph.
Because you usually, men, like from my experience, men either say one or the other. They don't say both. Like,
I've literally
you're
never heard any of them say cock.
you're a man that says dick. I've never met a man that says both. Let me know if you have, because I haven't.
Also, we do need to talk about Max's friend, though.
I loved him. He was hilarious.
I loved him. He was my friend. The friend, his friend, Lena's ride or die cousin, who was just very straightforward. Those two were my favorite characters of the story.
The side characters were perfection. I need them to have their own story.
The fact that he had to go sleep over his friend's house because he didn't want to
jack off.
I was like, is it that serious that you gotta go to somebody else? That you gotta go to somebody's house? Like,
yo, his friend was so tired. He was like, "What happened to the list we made?"
Yes.
Yeah. His friend was like, "You know why I don't tell you shit? Because you don't listen."
I actually did read Get a Life, Chloe Brown.
We did not talk about the one scene that I've been waiting to talk to you guys about for so long.
What?
His drunk poetry scene.
Oh, I wanted to skip it so bad. I hate that. I hate it. What did he rhyme her name with? He rhymed Lena with something. I was just like, that doesn't even rhyme, sir.
Like, sir, you know why your friend didn't get you off that stage? Because you wanted to sleep in his bed to not jack off Lena.
That was crazy. He allowed you to humiliate yourself. There is always like that one scene in a romantic comedy, though, of like where the male protagonist makes a fool of himself for the female protagonist. Either he's trying to win her back, or he's drunk, or it's like comedic relief. But there is always that scene, so it's kind of like just a part of the genre. Like there's always a scene where he makes a fool of himself. I guarantee you, every single book you find. There's always.
My favorite thing about the friend was when he gets in bed with him and he's like, if I feel this bed bounce one time.
His friend was like, I was reading that part and I was like, this friend is a real person. Like,
he is.
How he would react. It's like, fine, bring your ass on, but I swear to God. It's like, that's a real friend. Because I'm sorry, he didn't want to share a bed because it's like, you wanted to share a bed with your homeboy because you were afraid of jacking off and you felt like it would be awkward to jack off in the bed with your friend in the bed. That's the logic. That was your logic. Like you couldn't just drink some cold water and go to sleep.
Dean was hilarious. I want a whole book about him because he was funny.
Oh wait,
there is going to be one. The next book.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
I'd read that. Brittany ain't gonna read it, but I'll read it.
I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna let y'all tell me about it because Dean is a character that deserves his own book.
Yeah,
because when he did pop in, he gave me all of my life. Him and Lena's cousin who was getting married, that was like, I'm ready to just have all the sex I want.
You know what was also funny? When they were at that strip club and the aunt was like, I've seen more than that. When the stripper was like in her face, I was just like, listen.
The bachelorette party took me clean out. The aunties?
Yes.
The aunties were very real. Like I felt like the side characters and the familiar characters were very well written and felt very real and very realistic, despite the fact that they didn't really have as much stage time as the main characters.
No,
so I
but
think they were very well done.
Agreed.
Like her family was amazing. I loved how everyone immediately shaded Max when he came in. They were like, "Who is he? Why he here?" And I was like, "This is a part of this is Black people."
Straight up.
You bought a random guy and it didn't tell nobody he was bringing a guy. Who is he?
Yeah.
My house.
They're gonna be giving him like those looks that go from his head to his toe and then back to his head.
Yeah,
like okay. And then can we talk about especially bringing a man of another race?
Yes.
We see.
I feel like they weren't too surprised about that because she did bring her home. So like I feel like that part wasn't shocking to them. It was more like, Lena got a dude? Who's he?
Yeah. Because in my family would have been like, why you bring this white boy up in my house? That would have been the response.
Listen, really? My immediate family would be like, whoa, Britt, you're dating a white guy? Mainly because I date chocolate.
Yeah.
But if my brother walked in, I'd be like, oh, hey.
Y'all know what brother mine got. I'd have just been like, okay, well.
Right.
Yeah.
But
my family would probably be like, oh, it's very nice to meet you.
You all Black people have like one brother.
We need to have a family meeting. Everybody sit down. This is an emergency. Like it would be after they left.
Wait,
what is going on with you?
You would say it's an emergency with him right in front of him?
No. It would be super nice to him. Like, oh, welcome. Talk to him. Everything. What a nice young man. Yes. Second, the door closes on him leaving. We need to have a family meeting. Everybody sit down right now. It's an emergency. First, they'd be like, is everything going okay with you? Okay. Like, I'd be like, Lord, here we go.
My old would have been like, I did not leave Africa for this.
Basically, my dad would be like, we can take you home and get you a nice man from home. That is your first option. This should be your last option. Second he leaves, it's open season on me.
Oh my gosh.
No, the fact, I'm sorry. First of all, this accent is taking me out. Like,
my mom would just be like, okay, is he a Christian? That's like the only thing she cares about.
My immediate family, no. Now, if I took him back home, I'm good.
So interesting. I feel like they treat girls and boys differently though, because I think for me, they would not not to say that they would disapprove. Like if I really loved the person, they wouldn't care. But there would be that initial like, everything okay, sis? Everything all right? There would be that initial inquiry. But then if I was like, no, I really love him, they'd be like, all right, all right. But with my brother, they were literally just like, I'm just like,
Same with my brother. Everyone's just like, oh, okay. Sounds about right.
We all know that girls get treated differently.
The hypocrisy. I'm like,
yeah. We really can't do anything without them being like,
yeah, like, let's talk about this. I'm like, I ain't nothing to talk about. And right. I'm the first family to be
why is it always, let's talk about this? That's not.
I'm the quickest one in my family, though, to be like, to point out the inconsistencies, because I'm the first one to throw my brother under the bus. I always have since I was a child. I'd be like, well, you didn't make him do that.
Oshley is a snitch.
I'm like, he got a pass. And my brother's like, don't bring me into this. Like, he's like.
And you know what's so funny? Me and my siblings, my dad used to always tell us when we get in trouble, and he'd be like, all right, which one of y'all did it? And we would all zip our lip, and he would go, man, I love that I raised y'all so right. Y'all got each other's back. I'm gonna beat all y'all asses.
Everybody's gonna get it.
Everybody's gonna get it.
That was my parents' rule. My parents was like, I mean, sticking together is good, but I'm just gonna assume everybody did it then.
Everybody did it.
They'd be like, hand over the roller skates, because at one point we were hardcore like street hockey players, and like my dad's so he would take things like the stick, or the helmet, or something of that nature.
I remember like the beatings that we used to get. Nobody was abused before people get crazy.
You know, like, media these days, girl.
It's a cultural difference. If you didn't get hit as a kid, that's great. I did. But the whoopings that I would get, like, I remember they had a different effect on like each of us. Like for me, it made me realize that I just needed to be sneakier and get away with shit more. So then I stopped getting whoopings after I was like 5, because I just learned how to lie. I'd be like, I don't know what happened, mommy. Like, and they and then my middle brother, he couldn't lie for shit. He was too honest, and he just like, yeah, I did it. And he kept getting whooping until he was like 12 or 13. And then my dad was just like, I'm tired of beating you. Please just be better. and then my baby brother, he was so soft as a kid that me and my other brothers would take his beatings for him. We would take his beatings for him because he couldn't take it. So we'd be like, I'm just telling him I did it. It's okay. I got you.
That's so sweet. I would never.
So
you did it, you pay for it.
Troy said that's cute, but no.
No.
We were like, me and my middle brother would be like, all right, who's gonna take the beating for him this time? I'd be like, I'll take it. It's been a few weeks. But all right.
So funny though. In my family, everyone always says, they're just like, Troy and Nita were so weird. Like, all the other kids would get in trouble. They were like, but they must have been scared of Troy, because Troy Nicole could do whatever she wanted to. She could rip stuff down. She could throw a tantrum in the store, and they would not do anything. I don't know. People always said I acted in ASS as a child, and I was really bad. I don't know. I mean, I was a child. But like, I rarely got whoopings. I rarely got said anything to. Like, I got a few. But what I ended up doing was I was just better at hiding stuff. Like, my siblings would drink my dad's drink, and instead of just going, I drank it, they'd be like, oh, I didn't do it. And then he'd be like, I'm never going to whoop your ass over a Coke bottle. Like,
Ooh, like, I remember I was walking out the house and they had no idea, because I learned how to screw the screen back on, everything. And they just never thought I was out of the house, because I was like the good child. And I'm like,
Brittany was like, oh, y'all Americans got a lot going on.
Listen, I didn't get like, I got less whoopings than most because my daddy was in the military. He'd be like, fine, stand on the wall, hold your hands out. That's it.
That's horrible though.
Stand there and quote scripture. Listen, I would be like, can I get a whooping?
That's so much better than timeout.
So much better.
I will never forget the first time, like, my dad was like, I will never forget the first time that you asked me that, because I had to hold my composure. Because I was telling you, like, Brittany, we do not do this. And you were like, and he was like, you looked me dead in my eye and you said, okay, daddy, but I don't want to do this, so can I get whooped instead? That was cute. Because my parents were like whooping Brittany, like, because my parents were like, each one of y'all required different types of discipline because like all y'all were different. It's like your brother, yes, he just needed his behind whoop, but you, no, you were too smart for that. Yeah. You would get a whooping and it would all be over, and you can go back and do whatever you were doing.
Yeah,
so put you on punishment and take things away from you. Like my parents would take my books from me. Like,
wow, yeah, that really works. Yeah,
that was I'm like, how am I supposed to? What am I supposed to do? Oh, and they would take my library card, and like they would take the plug out of my TV. Not the TV, the plug out of the TV. So you can remember that he bought that TV for you and he can take it away if you act like you don't appreciate it. Like,
wow. I think that's facts though. Like each child reacts differently. Like for me, I think the whoopings never worked because A, it just taught me to get away with stuff. And B, my dad, I could tell he really didn't like doing it because he would give me a whole speech afterwards about how bad he felt and how dare I force him to do this. And please like,
oh my God, because I'm like, I didn't actually tell you to whoop me.
He'd be like, I do not want to do this. Please. Like, I'd be like, oh, poor dad. I'm gonna get away
poor dad.
Like, you know what? I was like, oh, look at him. I'm gonna get away with it next time. It's all good. You won't have
to. You know, my dad once said,
I've got your back.
My dad once said, he was like, you know, because the way it worked when I was in high school, me and my brothers lived with my dad, and my sisters lived in DMV with my mom. So my dad would be like, you know, when John and Elijah lie, their lies are stupid. They lie about the dumbest shit in the world. He's like, but when Troy lies, he said, I have to sit there and really think about it because she's lying about some real shit. She's like, she might have just robbed a bank. I was just like, what are you talking about? He swears I am the sneakiest motherfucker in the world because, you know, I got on the Greyhound, went to Atlanta, called him, and I was like, hey, daddy, I'm in Atlanta. And he was just like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm in Atlanta. I'm going to a concert. And then when I came home, I was like, oh, BT Dubs. It was on a Greyhound. And he was just like, but I got away with it. He didn't also, I mean, I was over 18. But
you know who both of y'all sound like? Talk about I got away with it. It was like, well, what are we gonna do next, Pinky? Try to take over
try to take over the world.
Basically what I'm hearing right now from you both.
You have to get smart with your parents.
You have to get smart. Like, get smart.
That legit did not work in my house. No.
I can believe that.
Like, no, not. Plus, my mom had super mega hearing.
My mom still has super mega hearing.
I feel like all moms do.
Like, I know that's a mom power because I don't have it now, and I'm in my 30s. I still don't have that power. So I guess like being an incubator for a child means that they bless you with superpowers.
Straight up. I feel like I'm gonna be the most suspicious, paranoid mother ever because of everything I did.
Yes, because you know they say when as bad as you were to your parents, it gets 10 times worse with your own.
Yes, I'm gonna be in their room every night, like testing the screen in the window, like, like just going through their pockets, like going through their drawers, like.
You know what? My dad was like really smart too. I remember for senior skip day, I got in the car and he turns to me in the back and he goes, "Where the sand at?" And I was like, "Where's the what?" He's like, "The sand. Where's the sand?" And I was just like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "It's senior skip day, isn't it?" And I was like, "How did you know that?" He was just like, "Y'all ain't go to Galveston. Y'all ain't rent no beach house." And I was just like, "Listen, I can't even do nothing. You be doing too much." I have no idea how you figured that out. No idea. Today.
I don't know what senior skip day is. I thought that was just a thing on TV.
No, it's a real thing.
It's a real
thing. I mean, I was a senior in high school. Was I a senior in high school in the States? Yeah, I was a senior. That's a shame. I was a senior in high school in the States. And I didn't do senior skip day because I didn't even have a driver's license.
Oh, I had friends who did.
Yeah, I didn't have very many friends.
Okay, y'all. I hate to curtail the fun, but it is 8:19 and we need to talk about the future.
Ooh, yes.
Both of you.
Me and Brittany share the same brain cell. I swear to God.
Y'all are like literally twin souls.
She's my light-skinned spirit animal.
I am.
Okay, So we are moving into a new quarter. It is going to be my quarter. You know what I'm saying? And no, I'm not going to pick a book that everyone's going to hate. Okay, I've turned over a new leaf. This is going to be
pick a book you're going to read.
Yes. So this is the book. Shade. The Shade. This is what we'll be reading.
Look into the screen. Yeah, there we go. Behold, so, Dreamers.
Yes. And I'm super excited for this one. I've heard tons of good things. This is actually a debut novel for the author. So I think and this is a literary fiction adult book. So it's kind of a little different for us. The romance was adult, but this is a little bit of a more serious read. And I think it's going to be a good one. I've heard really good things about it. So I think we're all going to like it. So I'm excited for this. It's by Mbolo Mbu, and she is a native of Limbe, Cameroon. So I also like the fact that we're choosing an author from within the African diaspora, and not just like a Black American author. Yeah, so I'm super excited about that.
I'm excited to read that one.
I said, we're trying to bring some variety into the book club. You know, we got to step into other genres.
Yes.
So hold the cover up just one more time so people can see it.
So welcome to quarter 3.
Quarter 3. Wow, we are in quarter 3 already?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. And we will be reading this book through
July, August, and September. We will actually talk about this book in September. For our September live show will be about that book.
So you have until September to read it. So plenty of time to get it from your library, whether you want to read the audiobook, the physical book. If you want to buy the book, I actually purchased this from the online bookstore that shall not be named. But I'm sure you can find it at like different thrift stores, or like there are others. You can try to find it at a Black-owned bookstore. That would be great. But definitely in libraries. I know a lot of libraries aren't open yet, but I think if you have like Cloud Library, or even if you have Hoopla, it might be on there. I'm not sure. I'll have to look. But you have plenty of time. Huh?
I said, I'll check when my card works.
Oh, you poor thing. So sad. But y'all have till September to read it. So there's plenty of time to read it. And I'm super excited for it.
Also,
yes.
If anybody has a suggestion for a topic for month 2 of this quarter, that would be interesting, because we don't have a topic for this quarter.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't have a topic yet. We like to do our topics based off of current events, and there have been so many things going on that it's kind of hard to just pinpoint one thing. Also, we don't know what's going to be happening in August. So we try to keep it a little bit open. We do have some ideas for our July live. And that's July is usually where we talk about current events. August is usually where we have a guest, I think, right?
Yeah, month 1 of the quarter is like current events and things going on. I don't even want to talk about BookTube crap, to be honest, anymore. Like, we'll just talk about current events and things like that. Have more engagement with the chat and stuff like that. The second month is always where we have a special guest, where we talk about a specific topic, like, you know, Black men read, mental health on Twitter, that kind of stuff. And then the third month of the quarter is where we talk about the book.
And we are trying to incorporate more of the podcast style, where you won't see our faces, but you will hear us and we'll come on. We're thinking anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half for our podcast style lives. And we do have some interesting topics, and we'll try to flip those podcast ones like in between here and there where we can find time. Because again, we all are focusing on Troy's graduation. After that, we will be able to do more things, but we are trying to get our girl graduated and degreed.
And then when Troy graduates, we'll open the Discord.
Yes. So that's kind of how we're thinking for the rest of this year. The fourth quarter is going to be a voting quarter. So once we reach September, and September is good and done with, and we reach our fourth quarter, which will cover October, November, and December, we will have 3 different options that y'all can vote on on our Goodreads page. So if you are not following us on Goodreads, you might want to go ahead and do that so you'll get a chance to vote. We'll also be on the Goodreads page. We'll also be offering up different topics for podcasts that y'all can vote on as well. Like, should we talk about this, this, or this? And y'all can vote, and we'll do a podcast on whatever topic wins. So we are going to be trying to utilize our Goodreads more. We're going to try to utilize our Twitter more. So if you're not following us on Twitter, please go follow us at Black Prose Club. And we're trying to get our Twitter on and popping. It's a lot of social media.
We've seen the crazy following increase we got on our YouTube and our Instagram. Like, it's kind of like, what? Like,
thank you. We're excited. And we are excited about growing our community steadily and growing with people who are actually going to engage with our content, watch our lives, support us. And that's kind of what we're going for. We're going for actually building a community of true supporters that are going to show up for us each time. And we're trying to curate and create a safe space for, honestly, for Black women. We welcome everyone, but because we are Black women, we feel like it's very important to create a safe space online where we can talk about the things that we love and things like that. But of course, everyone is welcome.
Yes, and I misspoke earlier when I said we launched the Discord. I meant that we would launch the Patreon because the Discord will actually be behind a paywall. So there's that.
But yeah, we have a lot of great things coming. We're thinking about merch. We're thinking about launching a true podcast in the sense that it will be on a podcasting platform like Spotify and things like that. So we do have a lot of things that we're going to be thinking about launching. We're trying to get little Miss Troy Nicole, trying to get her degree, trying to get her graduated. That's like priority one.
Yeah, we love our book club, but we love that graduation much better.
Exactly. So we definitely have things coming down the pipeline. So stick it out with us. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you for subscribing. If you're watching right now, please like this live. It helps our engagement so much. Y'all have no idea. So just take a second, hit the like button. That helps us out tremendously. We're trying to get our channel monetized as well so we can do more things for y'all, like meet and greets and fun stuff like that. So yes, we're super excited about everything to come.
One day we are totally going to host a panel at a book event.
Yes.
I'm going to manifest that now.
We have so many goals and we have so many things we want to do. We're really proud of the fact that our community is very supportive and a positive space. Everyone here is so wonderful, and like, you have no idea how much we appreciate each and every one of y'all, like coming on here and seeing your, I guess not your faces, your avatars and your comments. Like, it's so amazing. Like, we're so excited. So we have some great things coming down the pipeline. So please stick it out with us. It will definitely be well worth it.
Okay, well, don't forget to follow us on all social media as well, not just subscribing on here, but also on Instagram at Black Prose Book Club and on Twitter at Black Prose Club.
Yes. All right.
So thank you guys for coming for my quarter, and I hope you guys enjoy reading Oshilay's quarter now. The book was in the chat. I put it in, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.